if it's bull or bear, I don't care. It's quiet.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome. I am the Crypto Crow. Sorry, I've been absent a few days through the weekend. Just kind of taking a break, man, in the Red Sea and just all of the craziness that's going on in the world. And I just thought to myself, you know what? I'm just going to take a bit of a break because there really isn't all that much to talk about that everybody isn't already talking about. But I thought I would share some things today that I thought were fairly relevant and just kind of share my genuine thoughts about what I think is going on and what the future may very well hold. And so we're just going to dive right into it. I don't want this to be a super long video. I have my COPI rewards growing. I have my my COPI staking node NFTs. I got like 8 of those and they're generating a passive yield for me right now in COPI token, which is pretty cool. And, you know, if you have them, if you didn't buy them when they were initially minted, they're definitely much more expensive now on the secondary market. So, you know, I've learned you really have to stay on top of what's going on in the COPI ecosystem, or you could definitely miss out. So, you know, I've got my land, I've got my COPI tokens, I've got different things going on, and I'm, you know, I'm bullish, man. I think this is cool stuff. There's definitely a lot of news brewing. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of big stuff that's going to be coming out at Rare Evo. Rare Evo is just like less than 2 weeks away. You know, here we are on August 5th, and I'm going to be out there. We're going to have a little booth with Wargrim. It's more basically just a backdrop to make, you know, so that Wargrim is present. And then I am going to be speaking at Rare Evo, I think on the 16th. And I'm not even 100% sure what I'm talking about on the at Rare Evo. Let me know in the comments below what you think I should discuss. There's definitely some stuff going on, and there's a lot to be said. I will also let everybody know, excuse me, join this wait list. Go to wargrim.io. There's also a link in the description down below. A bunch of crazy fun links. I've changed up all my links recently. But you're going to want to be a part of this wait list. Our goal right now for Wargrim is 10,000 users. In a bear market, in a blockchain based game, it might be difficult, but I'm going to tell you guys something right now. We have significant, real, AAA level investment interest in this game. Our MVP is kicking ass, and everybody that plays it and tries it has been giving us the same feedback. Like, this is beyond just a blockchain game. Like, this is a legitimate, you know, this is much deeper. We've had some people who have tried it and tested it, said it was a hardcore TCG that would likely do really, really well in the market, even if it weren't a blockchain game. That basically the blockchain mechanics of it are all just an added bonus. We've had people in the AAA space basically tell us, this is really good, I want to help. And they are in fact helping, and they're getting us piped into a lot of different like major investment groups that are apparently showing interest in this. So because we have so many plans for Wargrim, but we don't have the capital to institute them all yet until we've either launched and we grow slowly with the community, or we get investment capital interest that comes in and empowers us to build out everything that we have planned, because there's some really cool stuff that's brewing with this. We have a lot of ideas of what we want to do and achieve, and one way or another, I think it's definitely going to all happen. But I think we're going to wait until we see. It'll probably be a couple weeks, and we should have an idea as to who steps up and wants to become a part of Wargrim. And you're going to want to join this wait list if you haven't already. Make sure you sign up all of your friends, anybody that you know that wants to be a part of Wargrim as it launches a lot of this stuff. You're going to want to make sure you're in the wait list. I can't stress it enough. Make sure you join. There are going to be benefits to becoming a member of the wait list. And I'm not talking about, if you join the wait list, it's like going to be an ICO or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about. But the way we are doing things and rolling things out, the first adopters, the people that have a genuine interest in the game, are going to stand to benefit pretty well from latecomers. So make sure you join the wait list. I can't stress that enough. Join the freaking wait list. You're going to be very excited to see what's coming. So anyway, we're going to touch base on Jump. because Jump Capital, and then we're going to go over like the top 3 altcoins that are likely to see a comeback after this drop and what's going on. But what we're going to be looking at right now is basically about this company, Jump Crypto. This is and I'm going to put all the links that I'm going to share in this in the description below so that you can all read further every web page. Because Jump Crypto, obviously known for its relationships with FTX, Terra Luna, and now Solana. It's very interesting. And we're going to basically go through a little brief timeline of Jump Crypto and what they've done and where they're at right now and kind of what's going on and how that may very well have been playing a role or may still be playing a role in what's happening in the crypto market. And I understand there's a lot of stuff, obviously, in Japan, and there's a lot of stuff going on globally that's affecting the market, right? Because we're seeing a lot of the traditional assets that have really tanked. Warren Buffett, I'm pretty sure, just sold like 50% of his Apple stock, which the guy never seems to sell much of anything. I think he's sitting on $272 billion worth of cash, just waiting to make an entry into something. So it's very interesting what's going on in the world right now. I mean, is it like the entire world has just gone nuts. Like officially, it's just gone crazy. And there's so much happening. But the question is how is it all affecting the crypto space and why? And if Bitcoin is supposed to be an inflation hedge and basically an asset to help alleviate some of the pains of the economical issues that we've been seeing for years and years and years, right? That was the original intent of its creation. Just like the situations in London and everything, which we're seeing more of now. And keep in mind, Bitcoin's trading at $54,000 at the moment I'm recording this. So it did go below 50 grand quickly and then started to recover to back up to 54,000. Is that the bottom? I have absolutely no idea. I'm not even going to hazard a guess. The world is absolutely in a tailspin. It's absolutely going crazy right now. But at the same time, I believe that this is an economic shakeout. You know how we have shakeouts in the markets of crypto, right? Even in a bull run, we can see Bitcoin drop 40%, and we can see that multiple times over the upswells in the Bitcoin's price action, and that ultimately follows through with everything going on in the altcoin market. So the drop itself isn't anything new. What's happening globally is what's scaring a lot of people, and what does that mean overall? So there's really no way for me. I'm not an economist. I don't, study the global economy. I probably should start, right? But I don't study the global economy. And a part of that is because I feel like so much of it, in my humble opinion, is staged. I believe that a lot of this stuff is planned. I feel like a lot of this stuff has been planned, likely since as far back as 2010. Just due to a PDF document I read back then that kind of broke down everything that has ultimately come to fruition since its release. Okay. And the document itself, I'm not even going to mention it here because I don't want to get flagged or anything. Some of you may know what I'm talking about. It's basically a document that broke down 4 phases of the potential future as it could play out in a simulation. Okay. And it's like reading that, and I went back and I was reading through it again, and I'm like, man, this was almost like prophecy, and it's absolutely insane, and it's even more scary now than I think it was then, when it was just like an idea. When you think, oh well, this isn't going to happen. This is all based off of like speculation and what may or may not happen. But now you realize it may have very well been a playbook, in a way to educate everybody on this is how things are going to be happening over the coming years. Get ready, and this is what you can do. So it's pretty interesting. But anyway, Jump's history has been very spotty at best, and you can see its community work was involved with Terra governance proposals. And then further with Solana vesting contract grants, basically boosting up the development of Solana and things. This was basically a big, long introduction to Jump Crypto, its history, and what it's been doing. Then we move forward into August 16th of 2022. Jump Crypto picked to revamp Solana to make blockchain more reliable. Isn't that interesting? The crypto trading firm and builder is re-upping its commitment after the once hot blockchain hit potholes. I don't think they did a very good job with this. I'm just going to hazard a guess here. Now in 2024, I don't think much has changed since this. Jump Crypto is trying to revamp a core part of Solana's infrastructure, seeking to boost the throughput and reliability of a network that's been plagued by frequent outages and slowdowns. Keep in mind, this was years ago. This was back in 2022. Obviously, I don't think they've really done very much to help the matters because we still see shutdowns. I mean, the most recent, I think, was like a week. It's just not good. Okay. Then we move forward, September 28th of 2022, FTX Ventures Jump Crypto lead $20 million fundraise for executable NFT wallet. The wallet, a forthcoming project from Solana developer Coral, will give users ownership of application code. I mean, really cool ideas in terms of technological advancement, but the way a lot of this stuff has played out hasn't fared that well. Jump Crypto's participation comes about a month after the crypto trading firm and builder was tapped to revamp a part of Solana's core infrastructure to improve reliability after a number of outages and slow throughput. Interesting, slow throughput, because I was under the impression that Solana's throughput has been touted as like next to nothing forever. Like it was I guess maybe they knew something we didn't. I don't understand that. Jump Crypto says it remains well capitalized following the FTX downfall. This was November 12th of 2022. Jump Trading's cryptocurrency arm said it remains well capitalized after FTX and Alameda Research filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection earlier this week. So they're basically saying we've got plenty of money. Everything's well funded. And then in October of 2023, Jump's trading arm lost almost $300 million in FTX's collapse. Michael Lewis says in Going Infinite. Large crypto market making firm Jump Trading lost nearly $300 million in the collapse of FTX, according to Michael Lewis's new book, Going Infinite, about Sam Bankman-Fried and the failure of his crypto exchange. And what I find very interesting is Jump Crypto's big claim is that they're a high volume algorithmic trading system, right? That's ultimately what they do. And they're market makers, apparently, from what I've read. I have not known that much, but what I've seen is that they can potentially move markets however they want, so long as there aren't major catalysts in the market to basically offset their efforts. But what's the likelihood of that happening, right? And like, if it were to happen, they're well capitalized. So what would they do if something like that were to happen? I don't know. We'll see. The CFTC is now probing Jump Crypto, previously one of the sector's biggest players. This is June 20th of 2024. The probe, which is not evidence of wrongdoing, comes after a turbulent 3 years for Jump. The company is known for its expertise in algorithmic trading and more recently as one of the most active market makers and investors in the crypto industry before being implicated in a series of hacks and collapses. Jump has since scaled back its crypto efforts, including spinning off two of its high-profile projects and opting out of the spot Bitcoin ETF race. That's very interesting and very telling. All of you out there that are basically expecting Solana to go to the moon may be waiting a while, just so you know, because it sounds like Jump is not having a good run of it. Jump Crypto unstakes $315 million worth of Ethereum now headed to exchanges. This article came out 15 hours ago. Jump still holds at least $125 million of staked Ether, blockchain data shows, but they're ultimately likely have or are in the process of dumping. Jump Crypto, the crypto division of Jump Trading, has shifted hundreds of millions of dollars worth of crypto to exchanges in recent days, sparking speculation that it may be preparing to sell off a huge chunk of its assets. Now, why would this be the case? Why would they need to sell off so much in assets during this market crash? Well, if you watch one of the big recent videos by DB Crypto, who broke down a lot of things related to Solana and all of the other Twitter posts related to it, where they're basically saying, you know, when the market is okay or it's moving, it's a lot easier to make number go up. But when the big dramatic things happen in the space, it can ultimately liquidate some of these folks that are playing the market using leverage and other things to move the market, manipulate the price, wash trading, all of these different things that are ultimately there to make a project look really good. Now, I'm not a wizard. I'm not a brainiac. I don't fully understand or know all of the nuances of what could or could not be happening. I don't know. I'm not saying that they're doing any of this. I don't know. I don't work there. I'm not in charge of anything. But a lot of internet sleuths have been chopping up the numbers and doing deep dives into what on-chain data they can, because remember, Solana didn't even want to do any of that. They said, listen, if you want to know what's going on our blockchain, you're going to have to build it. We're not going to build and explore for you. Almost like saying, well, why would we give you a roadmap to show you what we're doing? If you want to figure out how to do it on your own. And even then, a lot of the people that have created a lot of these on-chain explorers have been finding that it's still difficult to pull some of the data that they need to make adequate decisions on what's happening and when. So I find that very interesting. The transfer includes over 120,000 staked Ethereum tokens worth around $314.8 million, which started moving on July 24th, one day after the launch of spot Ether exchange traded funds in the United States. Very interesting. So one of the things that we talk about all the time as it relates to Solana specifically is the insiders are going to know what's happening on chain and what their plans are for tokens before anybody else does. So as there's an opportunity to establish exit liquidity, well, they might take advantage of that. And that's what we're basically seeing from the looks of things. Data from blockchain analytics platform Arkham shows much of those funds were unstaked at the Ethereum redeem address before being moved to Binance, OKX, Coinbase, Bybit, and Gate.io addresses. Crypto sleuth Ember CN estimated approximately $410 million of Ethereum has been unstaked, with 191 million of that already entering crypto exchanges. Jump Crypto still holds at least 125.8 million of staked Ether, including 116.1 million wrapped Lido staked Ether. It's just not looking good, folks. I mean, this is Waz. I just discovered this individual and just started following them because from the looks of things, they put out a lot of really good, and it's not just Solana. They put out a lot of really interesting stuff about different blockchains. Jump has been unstaking and likely dumping $500 million worth of Ethereum for the past 2 weeks. I don't know how I haven't seen this one on the TL yet. Maybe I missed it or no one picked it up. There's like 10 pages of transactions like this. Could explain Ethereum weakness post ETF. They started 2 days after ETF listing. The mass transfers come about 5 weeks after Kanav Karia stepped down as Jump Crypto's president following widespread reports of a U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission investigation. Absolutely nutso, man. Like, an investigation starts, the CEO jumps ship. I mean, everything else is left to its own devices. Are people just dumping everything to try and cover? What are they trying to cover? I don't understand fully what that all means, quite frankly. But you can see this thread here on Twitter breaks it down, and then there's even more information related to like the Ethereum dump and what's going on there. And not only that, but a lot of people have been pointing out the Solana inflation rate. Like, just the millions of new Solana tokens that are being inflated into the market or into the Solana economy. And just how much has happened just in the past year alone, just in 2025, I think. Don't quote me because I'm not 100% on every little detail, but it looks to be somewhere around like 15 million Solana tokens have ultimately come into the economy over the last year alone. You might want to double check that. I encourage you all to double check everything I say because I'm always right sometimes and I'm not always 100%. And a lot of what I share is basically, my opinion or my impression based off of what I'm reading other people say. Let's just be real about that. At least when it comes to blockchains that I'm not really a part of. But it just seems like, and then there are a lot of people, let's see, not even noticeable in the overall validator count source. There, I'm pretty sure there was some tweets relating to the inflation of the Solana token, and I see a lot of the predictions of people talking about Solana and where they expect the price to go and everything else, but it just looks like everything right now is working against Solana. Like, it just does not look good. But for whatever reason, people are holding tight to this idea that Solana is going to flip Ethereum and it's going to make everybody insanely rich because everyone's been trading these freaking pet rocks all over the internet within the Solana ecosystem. I feel like it really is time for a lot of you folks out there that are Solana bulls to wake up, because I don't say that with disdain or to try and be mean. I don't really care what other blockchain you get into. It doesn't have to be Cardano. I just happen to really appreciate Cardano. And, but I don't really care. Even if it's Ethereum, I am not in a place at all where I would be trusting Solana or anything related to it. That's just me. If you really, really believe that number go up no matter what, and you don't care how, maybe you'll be right for a little while, and hopefully for that time frame you'll be able to like get into a position and out of it before you're hurt in any way. I genuinely want that for you, but it just does not look good. So make sure you dive deeper into a lot of this stuff as it relates to what's going on with Solana and Jump Crypto and all of the activities related to it, because it looks like they're really trying to dump a lot of their capital assets, and it looks like they started this a couple of weeks ago, so it doesn't necessarily have to do with like the last 48-hour market crash across the world. And I'm not sure if they saw it coming somehow. Maybe they're just better than the rest of the world, and they were able to predict this 2 weeks in advance, so they were preparing for it so that they could buy in at cheaper prices. Maybe this is a good thing. I don't know. You have to let me know in the comments, but I don't personally buy it based off of everything I've seen. Post-crash opportunities, the top 3 altcoins set to rise in the next 3 months. And I was looking through this because anytime I see stuff like this, I generally like to see whether or not it's a paid sponsorship of some kind. And I didn't see it, so I didn't see anything that said sponsored. But it looks like it's naming Render. Render has been navigating through a challenging market, but there are several indicators that suggest a potential recovery in the near future. Despite recent declines, the current resistance and support levels indicate a relatively stable price range, providing a solid foundation for upward movement. So that looks good. They're talking about Ripple, man. I mean, you know, basically saying Ripple could target 85 cents in the not so distant future, currently trading between 47 and 62 cents. I'm thinking maybe they're right. Maybe they're right. We'll see. And then the third on their list is Cardano. Cardano has faced some recent struggles, but there are strong indicators that a recovery could be on the horizon. Trading between 31 cents and 40 cents right now. It's currently trading at 31.37 right now cents. ADA has a clear path to significant gains, and if it can break through its resistance at 46 cents. Achieving this milestone could set ADA on a course to reach 56 cents, marking substantial growth. The current market sentiment is challenging, but Cardano's robust technology and community support provide a strong foundation for future gains. So here's the note that I want to make on Cardano, because I know that Cardano typically, you know, one of the big things that a lot of us say is that generally Cardano moves on its own, however it wants to. Why do you think that is? When I see groups like Jump Crypto and a lot of other blockchain asset groups where they have market makers moving the market, do you understand what the job of a market maker really is? The job of a market maker is ultimately to either say, okay, crypto project, you pay us this much money, we will match this much money at a discount. Maybe they're getting 20%, 30% off the cost of the tokens from maybe whatever centrally controlled assets the project may maintain, and then they'll buy those tokens. So now they have double the leverage, the liquidity, whatever. And they said, we'll guarantee the price of your token never falls below X, unless maybe this, that, or another thing that are basically like offset off, you know, like things, outliers that they can't control. But in the natural progression of the market, they can, for the most part, maintain a particular price of an asset. Okay. I don't think a lot of people know that. But then on top of that, deals are ultimately made. Welcome, Travis. Not even live right now, but it's still piped into my YouTube. But the narratives are, they're moving the price just to liquidate everybody, right? And to some extent they are. Maybe an exchange market maker, that may be their job. But there are different types of market makers for different types of moves or interests, depending on who's hiring them. They're almost like economic hitmen in a way, right? They can move the economy in different directions and control different inflows, outflows of certain things. I mean, there's like a whole game to it. And some of these real career level market makers are really damn good at what they do, especially if they control the bulk supply of an asset on a new exchange. Okay, which is why, big companies that launch an ICO and they're venture funded and all of that, well, they have all the assets in the world to basically establish price action on an asset as it's growing its market and ecosystem. And it's big money. It costs a lot, which is one of the reasons why these venture capitalist groups enter these projects, because depending on the Ponzonomics and the potential of growth or gain from these venture capitalist groups, that's what gets them interested and involved in establishing all of these different foundations for the project's growth. But many of them also have particular terms of exit, where once they've made enough money or their things are outside of a certain area of control, then they just basically exit into the exit liquidity, which is ultimately the retail market, and they move on to other projects or other things. What's one of the things that Cardano really doesn't have much of? Venture capital interest, which means that primarily Cardano's price action has been moving based off of its community and its holders, based off of supply, demand, interest in the market, what's going on as it meets different development milestones, whether it's a really good video put out by Charles on his channel, or one of us is, something new is coming and we talk about it and the community gets excited and they start accumulating more. It's moving as a market more naturally, which is one of the reasons why Cardano's price seems to move on its own. Does that make sense? So while people say, well, the price goes up slower than a lot of these other markets, that's probably, I'm guessing, but that's probably because it doesn't have an army of market makers moving those markets. And it at the same time, to the upside or to the downside, ultimately liquidating people or artificially inflating the price. It moves based on its own merit. And so when I look at the way market movers are moving the markets and different assets, whether it's Solana or other assets, I always feel a little bit more comfortable with Cardano, because when I look at these other projects, I think to myself, well, could a whale move the Cardano market to some extent? Sure, it can, and it happens, I'm sure. But what is the likelihood of them moving markets intentionally just to try and liquidate other holders and get them out? It doesn't benefit anybody. But when you've got artificial price pumps or wash trading or all of these other little shady active things that some different people do in different blockchains for their own reasons, that doesn't help the economy overall. It just doesn't, especially long term. And I think ultimately it creates a much more flimsy house of cards with a lot more potential issues. And so, I'm one that I believe wholeheartedly in Cardano and what it's doing. I'm looking very much forward to Rare Evo and just, being able to meet all of you guys and gals out there that want to meet me and just kind of talk and, whatever. I'm very excited about Wargrim, because I think Wargrim is going to be a really fun game. I really do think this is going to be something that's going to take a lot of you guys by surprise, quite frankly, because I don't think there's another blockchain based game like Wargrim, and like what with what we're trying to build, what we are building, what we've already built. I think you guys are going to dig it, especially if you're big card players. If you really like TCG games, you're just going to love Wargrim, regardless of whether or not it's on a blockchain or what. And ultimately, just so you guys understand, this is going to be a cross-chain game at some point. Like, we are going to have versions of this that are running on multiple chains with interoperability, and there's just a lot of stuff that we're doing. But of course, we're going to launch it on the home chain, Cardano, and so we want everybody to get involved. Make sure you join the wait list for that. But listen, folks, I don't really know what's coming or what to expect in the not so distant future. Obviously, my My Wyckoff pattern has totally been just royally ruined. I mean, I just don't see that happening, obviously, at this point now. So now the question is, what are we doing now? Are we going to start forming up another pattern? I'm going to start looking at it, and I'm going to see what's next. If the Wyckoff reaccumulation pattern that we've been in for a while now, playing out for weeks and weeks, if that's been just completely debunked, where is the price action moving from here? Have we bottomed out? Are we going to start inching our way back up? Are we going to have a good August, a bad August? And a lot of that is ultimately going to depend on what's going on in the rest of the world, quite frankly, as people are really freaking out, and I don't blame them. I'm one of them. I mean, I'm not necessarily as concerned about crypto, but I am a little concerned about the world as a whole, because it just doesn't look good. And I'm honestly, truly concerned about where we are compared to where we were just years ago. And I don't understand how everything gets flipped on its head quite literally overnight, and how so many people are just completely oblivious to it and don't seem to care much. Like, it just like whatever lines they're fed to by their favorite, news mediums, they gobble it up without a care in the world. And they're very quick to point fingers at wherever they're told to point fingers. And I'm like, how many people really are afraid of understanding or knowing the truth behind what's going on around them? Is it just easier to live? Like, is this the blue pill, red pill question? Like, do you want to really know what's going on, or you just want to be oblivious to all of it and move on with your life as normal? And sometimes I wonder which is better myself, because I spend countless hours, days, every day for years and years and years just trying to understand what's going on in the world around me. I think I have a pretty good idea, but you can't really talk about a lot of that stuff, right? Because if too much truth hits the airwaves too quickly, well, then that just means a lot of problems for people. And, it's a sad and disgusting world, honestly, and hopefully that changes someday, but I really don't see it. What I'm more interested in now is just trying to understand how to get ahead of things so that I can at least enjoy my life, secure my family's well-being for their lives, and just live quietly somewhere. Like, at this point, we don't really have any control over what's going on. I feel like everything's ultimately being dictated to us. And there are just too many people out there that either don't care, don't have the aptitude, or don't have the time to try and understand what's going on to make any real significant changes outside of just calling people names and just being ultimately toxic. And I don't have any time for that. So anyway, I will try to update soon once I have a better grasp on what's happening, what I think is going on. But ultimately, I think we're going to come out okay. And I think things are going to start turning around more and more as we get closer to election time. But, like, if all is lost and one side feels like the battle is over, what reason do they have to even try to like create a picture that things are going well right now? That's my fear. I don't think anybody's buying this flip to the VP. I don't think the narrative of, like over 80 million people, 1 minute being all about this person or ultimately being in favor of this particular individual that gets elected into office over this other, like, obviously proven much more popular person at the time, that original person is out while the VP has really done absolutely nothing but like laugh and cackle her way through like press conferences and things, and really makes no sense whatsoever, talks herself in circles of like, just it blows my mind. Like, there's no way that the same 80 million people are now thinking that she's going to be the great pick. I'm sorry. That narrative that I'm seeing play out now is so hilarious. Yeah, folks, it's time to wake up, man, because like this is not getting any better until some of you guys and gals do. But to each their own. Till next time, guys, crow your coins. I'll see you soon.